charge of guiding the building. The horse did all the pulling. Once they got to this location, they untied the horse, pulled out the log, set it down. The guys went in to get themselves a drink, and they realized they just walked in the back door from the front side of the street. They moved our whole building in backwards. I know. Have you ever done that before? Put it in backwards? Well, remember, these are Alaskan men. They're not about to do this job over again. So what they did is they compromised. They cut the front off the front, the back off the back, switched the two sides around, nailed it back together, and they called it a day. And that is a backwards brothel that we still have here today. That's incredible, I think. Not probably the smartest thing. I just hang a sign, entrance around back. But whatever. Now, if you come to Skagway during the gold rush, we had 15,000 brandy, young, hopeful stampeders in town, and only 300 prostitutes. And I don't know about you ladies, but that's the kind of math that makes me tired. And rich. But if you'd chosen the Red Onion as your destination, when you walked in downstairs, you would have bellied on up to the bartender, got yourself a shot of liquid courage, and then you would have noticed that behind that bartender was a shelf. And up on the shelf were 10 dolls. And these dolls are made to replicate the 10 live dolls that were living and working upstairs by hair color, eye color, even by the color of dress that she probably wasn't wearing. A gentleman could pick out a doll based on his own personal preference. He would tell the bartender, and then the bartender would take that doll and lay her flat on her back, letting everyone know that she was going to be busy for the next 15 minutes. You look nervous. Are you unsure how to use the other 13 minutes? I know. Don't waste time. Well, don't worry. We were the most expensive place in town, so all of our ladies had been trained in the art of conversation. They knew how to read and write, as well as how to play an instrument, like the organ. Once you told the bartender who you were interested in, you would have gone up a ladder. There were no stairs here during the gold rush. At the top of the ladder, the bouncer was waiting for you, and he would escort you down this hallway over here to the door of the girl of your choice. That girl would be waiting in the hallway. She'd give you a smile, open up her door, and the first rule of prostitution would come into play. So who knows what the rule is? Money first. That's right, sweetie. Have you done this before? You see how she knew that? That's how it worked. It was always pay before you play. It cost them $5 for 15 minutes, just like you all paid, except they paid it in gold nuggets or gold coins. Now, once the money exchanged hands, the clock started ticking. After 15 minutes, the gentleman had to go back downstairs. Even if he had more stamina, he had to go back down and wait in line. Once he was gone and she was all by herself, she'd take that money, she'd walk to the corner of her room, and she would drop it into a hole in her floor. And this hole was connected by copper tubing all the way downstairs to the house's safe, which they kept behind the bar. Once the bartender heard the clickety-clank of the gold ricocheting against the copper tubing, he'd turn around, see which doll was making so much noise upstairs, and drop that doll back up on her feet, letting everyone know she was once again open for business. And that was the system here at the Red Onion. You always knew if your favorite doll was waiting on you, if you had time for another drink. Now, unfortunately, 29 years ago, when our current owner bought this building, Madam Jane Retmore wanted to turn it into a restaurant with a kitchen downstairs, and they told her the copper tubing was a fire hazard, and she had to have it all removed. Well, as she was doing those renovations, she lifted up our floorboards upstairs, and she discovered all sorts of trinkets and valuables that had been stashed away underneath by the women working here. Probably some of their most prized personal possessions. A lot of what she found is in this case over here on this side of the room. You can see tokens. One of them even says, good for one screw. You can see a silver lace collar that we found in the madam's room. Coin purses, hairpins, but I think the most unusual thing she found is an electric curling iron that's in the corner of the case closest to me. Wow. Believe it or not, Skagway had their electricity 1 year before New York City received theirs. That's how booming our economy was. And well, my lovely ladies, you're closest. Does that curling iron look similar to a curling iron you've seen before? Yes, they're nodding their heads. You just can't hear them. The only difference between this curling iron and the one that you have at home is the plug at the end. And that's because during the gold rush, our electricity wasn't in our walls, it was in our knob and tube wiring in the ceiling. So when a girl wanted to use her curling iron, she actually climbed up onto a chair, she'd unscrew her light bulb, screw in her curling iron, wait for it to heat up, and then she'd curl and style her hair in the dark. Yeah. We are fairly certain that was the only unscrewing going on in the room. Fairly certain. But take a look at that curling iron and those other items as you follow me into the next room.